Greetings, my good people. This is my first recording in over a week. So I ask you guys to excuse me because on my last video, which was the video about it was about Edgar Berlanga. I mentioned that I had taken a COVID test and I was kind of sniffling, and I thought that the sniffling was because of the COVID device that they use for your nose, and it did sort of evoke that sniffling. But I came to find out the next night, which was a Friday evening, that I was positive. I received it from a text from the health department, and it was it's been a tough time since then. My wife also unfortunately has COVID, and so we've both been quarantining and healing. And you know, I've been trying to find the air in my lungs to make a video, but unfortunately until this point it's been impossible. So, but you know, that aside, I wanted to talk about the fight last weekend on Saturday, which again, I saw it while I was sick, and I wanted to comment on the fight, but I couldn't, you know, and that was the Caleb Plant versus Caleb Truax, which was an incredibly lackluster and boring fight, and it really gave me a new perspective about Caleb Plant and his obvious limitations. When he beat the guy from Colombia, I forget his name, Ustekia or something like that, I thought that guy would hurt Caleb and potentially knock him out. And when he was able to outbox that guy and use his aggression against him and even knock him down, I said, wow, this kid was able to tussle with a monster. And it gave me the belief. I actually thought that he could beat Canelo. And this fight right here totally changed my perspective of everything. And it's no disrespect to Caleb Truax, because he obviously took a lot more punishment than he should have. I would have thrown in, being his corner, I would have thrown in the towel a lot earlier. I don't think he had no chance of winning that fight. I guess there was the outside possibility that maybe he could land a lucky punch, but you kind of, as cornermen, you kind of have to make calculations during the fight, and I think that would have been in terms of his health, you know, because you got to think, during the moment your fighter may get upset and people may talk about it, but after that people continue with their regular lives, and in the end you're able to save your fighter from absorbing countless punches to the head. And you've got to think, when you're so outclassed, you know, as the rounds go by, you get hit even harder, and then you get frustrated, and so you get hit more often, and it's just there's a compounding effect that has to be there as well in terms of mental trauma. So, you know, I thought they should have, respectfully, I thought that they should have stopped the fight, and that's not to any knock on Caleb Truax. Now, in terms of Caleb Plant, you know, he fought a good fight, but he got caught a lot, and you couldn't help but think that if somebody with power who would follow up would have caught him, that there could have very likely been trouble for Plant. And his lack of power, his lack of punching power was so evident. Again, there's no disrespect to Caleb Plant. He appears to have a good chin, but any strong fighter in that weight class, never mind like a David Benavidez or someone of that skill set, would have been able to knock him out early in that fight. And the fact that Caleb doesn't have that next gear has got to be not only worrisome as he steps up his level of opponents, but also it's got to be disconcerting when you think of guys that are also coming back and it would be a lot sharper than Caleb Truax was. And so I never thought that Caleb Plant had anything for David Benavidez, and I think he makes a big mistake in talking back and forth with David, because David is the type of guy that really gets off on you sort of mentioning his name. He used much like Jordan and a lot of great superstars, he finds a way to sort of use that and create anger, perhaps even when it's not there, and use it against you in terms of punishment in the fight. So I would definitely advise Caleb against that, and I don't think he has a chance against Canelo at all. The only thing I would say about Canelo is not one of my favorite fighters, and the reason why he's not one of my favorite fighters is because he lacks there's something that he's lacking that David Benavidez has, and Bud Crawford has, that Felix Trinidad has, that a lot of the great fighters that make you feel the most excited when you're watching them is they're able to step on the gas and finish you off. Another fighter that doesn't seem to have that quality, and that's why he's not one of my favorite fighters either, is Errol Spence. Errol Spence, you've seen him in countless fights where he's not quite able to get his guy out of there, whether it was Danny Garcia or what's the other guy's name? The other Garcia that came up in weight to fight him. Oh, geez, I'm forgetting his name. But Errol Spence appears to be missing that as well, as does Canelo. Canelo couldn't step on the gas against Cotto. He couldn't step on the gas against a lot of opponents, and he appears to be gun shy. He'll kind of try, but he won't take it to that next level. And with Caleb may be able to use his defense and his good sort of measure of distance to stay away from some of Canelo's power. But without question, I have zero doubt that Canelo would beat him at this point, and perhaps even definitely hurt him, and perhaps even knock him out. And I do not believe, seeing the punches that Canelo has taken from strong guys at 160 and 168, I do not believe that Caleb has any possibility to hurt Canelo. And when you think of a guy with Canelo's skill and defensive ability, and then going into a fight knowing that his opponent can't hurt him, that's got to give him all the confidence in the world. So I think Canelo would unquestionably be successful in that fight, and I'm not sure that there's anything that Caleb Plant can do going forward in terms of, as he steps up his level of opponents. I think he's gonna unquestionably be in trouble. Now, I may be wrong, but that's exactly what I got from watching his fight against Caleb Truax. Thanks again, guys, for listening. I hope I didn't, make anybody feel uncomfortable by explaining my situation with COVID. This right here, this channel is a channel that I started recently, and even now as I'm speaking, it gives me so much joy to speak and to kind of give my 2 cents about these fights. I know it's gonna be slow growth, I get it, and I'm okay with that. It's something that I feel really good about doing, and I hope that there's some of you guys out there that appreciate it. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and nothing but love and blessings to everyone.
Yeah, I'll give you my 2 cents, and if you're not too sensitive, you'll be able to sense how much sense I actually make. I'm actually great.